just call me and say whatever. Like, yeah, it's definitely.
Man, where's
It's
Cookie
all
right
good.
there though?
I know.
He was really getting it.
Nah, we good. We'll pick those up.
Okay. Okay. So apparently the stream was not going, and so um we want to apologize to everybody. We were just having a really fire conversation, So everybody that has the app, they got to hear. We're talking about um why did I get married? Part two,
Right.
part D. Um,
Duh.
so so here we go. All right. So um
Should we just pick up where we left off and like bring folks up to speed?
go ahead.
Yeah, well, I think I had brought up the point about the radical honesty, right?
Yeah.
But you were talking about how you have to kind of make a decision for yourself before you can be that honest and that clear with other people that you're communicating with.
Well, the thing is, I don't think that we like. Okay, so my thing is, say for example, like you have like all these stories and or experiences in your relationship that you want to keep private while seeking advice.
Correct.
Now, if you disclose all of these things, and then the person that's not going through the struggle with said things still gives you the cookie cutter inspirational, like, yeah, man, marriage is tough. You're right, but I think you guys could work it out. If that's not what you want to hear, you just like basically spilled all your business for nothing. So I think like if you are like, you have to kind of arrive at those points at your own and be like, yo, for reasons I can't discuss, I think we've run our course. And I'm just letting you know, and I want advice on how to go forward now that I've decided that. Because the thing is like, yo, people could be putting a bunch of stuff on you to maintain, like we was talking about earlier, shout out to everybody in YouTube that's actually joined now. But to maintain group photo optics. And like vacations and dinners and like like, oh, we have this standing quadruple date where we go bowling once a month. It's like, bro, like I have a real life, and if I'm not really happy, that may not be who I need to be with. Like, you know what I mean? Like I can't keep that up.
So for everybody that just tuned in, we apologize for the technical difficulties.
We're doing this live, y'all.
We're doing it live. You guys missed some fire conversation. We're just gonna try to recap. And so what you heard, we're talking about why did I get married, and so KJ had posed the question as to how, you know what I mean, like when you get married and your friends are married and you're kind of on the same path in life, like when you see people drop off, or like how does it affect you? Do you feel like it'll make it so that your situation doesn't work out? Are you upset, like you get upset with people when they decide that they're not gonna finish out the race with y'all? And so I quickly explained how this is, I guess I have to give freaking context again as to, all right, so I was all right, help me to come up with a better analogy this time, because I won't say Skittles. It's all right. I was you know what I'm saying, like I was, and so I was
If you know, you know.
yeah, I was married at one time. I am no longer, and one of the reasons why is because I was the LeBron James of cheaters. I was like the Cleveland LeBron at his peak.
Wow.
2016 LeBron, like, you know what I'm saying? Like I was like all NBA cheater.
Like, high praise. Like, I think that analogy just
I played both ends of the floor. I was a great two-way player.
I had my choice of any roster in the league.
Like Clay before he tore his Achilles. Like we're like I was out here.
Speaking of radical honesty.
And so
apologies to all hurt parties involved.
Hey man, yeah, we know what it is. But it's but I was saying how people, like the people who we know a lot, because you only want to, you don't want to put all your business out there. For me, like I'm not here like to, to try to further embarrass anybody, or like to, or try to get people on my side or nothing like that. But the advice that you're getting is not necessarily the advice that you need when you're not able to tell somebody everything that's going on. And so a
But
lot,
that's
because
what
I was what I'm saying, like I was unwilling to throw her under the bus, to, what I'm saying, like, because we're not only because our family is close, but like, because that's like the majority of her family doesn't live here.
right.
And so, you know what I mean? Like I didn't want for everybody to, what I'm saying, like to look, to look at her a certain way, and maybe like, just feel like, oh, like I'm good, like I don't want to speak to you again. Now there were relationships that, that she kind of messed up on her own, but I didn't want it to be, because I'm telling everybody to not, do that. Now it is weird when people don't have boundaries and they kind of come around more than they should, but that's another conversation for another day. But what I am saying, I'm saying, like
Okay.
I had almost fell out with my dad, because I'm trying to tell him something, and I'm like asking him basically to compartmentalize this situation from the rest of everything else. But he wasn't able to do that, because he's like trying to, like, well, now, like, I'm trying to help you save your marriage and you're not taking the help. Like, you know what I mean? And I'm like, yo,
Mm,
like, really, when we hung up the phone, I had purpose in my heart that we were not going to talk for a while. Like, so
mm,
because it was just, it was because I was that frustrated, and it really felt like I couldn't really go and talk to nobody until, everything boiled over. I was kind of put in a position where I had to tell them, because you know what I'm saying, like. And so um is it, but like I said before, like before that, it was coming apart at the seams anyway. So it was like we
and
had that wonderful, well, what could have been a wonderful trip to Europe, and it just wasn't, and all that, blah blah blah. And
and
well, I will fill in context later on, but you
I
guys.
but I think that's what happens when you are like providing more context to your who you've elected to vent to.
Yeah.
I think you are trying to like gain favor, not even necessarily favor for yourself, but favor for, like, you're like, I think you'd give a different answer if you were more informed.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I don't think, I hate to say it, but it's like like it sounds horrible to say, oh, I didn't want to tell the business to get them on my side, but it's like, if all the information that you withheld kept them on your side, probably wouldn't have to say nothing else.
Yeah.
Like, because you'd be hearing, like, I hate to say it, but people, like, sometimes you seek a sounding board in certain situations. And it's like, if you was just like, yo, I want to end it because of XYZ, and XYZ was enough, and he was like, word, God bless you. Let's pray on it. Let's move forward. You would have never gave the rest of the alphabet. You would have been fine. But it's like, it's like, yo, bro, like, I don't think you're gonna be all flowers and roses if I tell you the rest of these letters. So here's A, B, C, D, E. You know what I mean? And he's like, mm, duly noted.
I think in a way it's kind of admirable. You know what I mean?
No,
Because
it
the
is.
relationship had dissolved to a point where you no longer wanted to be there, but you were still that protective husband, right? Because you didn't want to uh, paint her in a light where people had this kind of information that made her look a certain way or be ostracized or be alienated by others, right? So even in the midst of your relationship where you weren't willing to continue, being a couple, you were still being a protector of, what I'm saying, some of her innocence. So I think of it as admirable, but I also think that when you chose to speak to those people and give them that side of yourself looking for the advice, I think in a way you did yourself a disservice by not being able to be completely honest with them, which is going to put tension between you and them because they don't know the honest truth and they can't give you the real advice that was going to benefit you the best in that moment
Yeah.
because they didn't have all the information.
This is the thing. So I didn't I wasn't trying to like I said, I wasn't trying to put it out there, because I didn't want for her to look a certain way.
Mhm.
That, like, yo, the reality was that we both knew that that it was over, or that we didn't want to be there. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? we didn't want to be there, and even though like the reality of what happened, you could consider it to be kind of crushing in a way. I mean, bro, th- I wasn't trying to. I know that you have to tell people the full story if you want to get good advice, because that, you know what I'm saying, like, never, if I'm, I choose to, the people that I choose to talk to are people that I trust. And so if I'm telling you, I'm never going to try to make myself out to be somebody that I'm not. You know what I'm saying? Like, like there's mad situations where it's definitely not favorable for me to say some of the stuff that I'm saying in conversation. You know what I mean? Like, it but that wasn't, I wasn't thinking about that, because for me, I understand that if you decide to play the game, and y'all know what I'm talking about, if you decide to play the game, you have to play both sides. You can't, like, this is not, it's not for like football where you can just play offense, or like, you know what I'm saying, just play defense. It's like, yo,
Special teams.
you gotta play, you have to play both sides. So I understood through all the stuff, all the stuff that I did. You know what I'm saying? Like, we could debate whether or not it was what I deserved, or anything like that. It's like, it's fine. And I was cool with them knowing anything that I did, but I wasn't trying to be like, like, I didn't want to have to say, because I know that for me, like, within myself, even though it didn't feel good necessarily, I'm like, it was like, yo, this is an avenue by which we can just end this now. You know what
But
I'm saying? And then,
okay.
and I'm not, and I'm saying, and also, um, it's, I don't, they were going to be more upset than, you know what I'm saying, like, than me, because I know that I can temper myself for the most, like, I'm not getting ready to, lash out. I don't, you know what I mean, like, where other people are not necessarily going to be as nice. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't, there's some stuff, if I tell my mother, I have to preface that with other things before, like, listen, ma, I want you to listen to what I'm saying, and before you get upset,
You're
like, there's
trying to
gonna be
make the
da, da,
story palatable.
because they're like, yo, because I knew that they, like, these are people that, you know what I mean, like, we were together 15 years, so these are people that she had relationships with also, and it's like, if you want to be able to save those, they, you know what I mean, like, everybody's not going to be able to, you know what I mean, like, but then, like I said, like, just the way that it happened, like, I had to end up saying something, just because of the way that the situation went. I don't want, like, I don't want to put it all out there,
No,
like, like,
no,
right now,
not
but
at
I'm just
all.
saying, like, I want to make sure that there's enough context to be able to understand, like, what I'm saying is, like, I didn't want, I I could, because I'm like, yo, I'm gonna get over it,
Mhm.
and we're
Well,
just not gonna be together, and
Yeah.
I can talk to her even whenever I need to. We have kids, whatever.
Yeah, and
But
you
it's
have,
like,
have to
these people,
understand too. Everybody else is playing catch up. Where you've lived this experience and you
yeah,
had these things happen, and you guys have known, like, yo, it may not have been good for a year, or may not have been good for 2 years. Now that you're involving other people,
yeah,
they're getting hit. You know what I'm saying? Clear out the blue with this fresh information, like it's happening now. Where you're like, listen, I'm not even worried about that because that happened that long ago. But
yeah,
but you know what I'm saying? So they're getting hit with a lot of information, and they're trying to process it in the now, which can be difficult for people.
but if we're gonna be and obviously I don't, you my brother, I love you, so I don't mind disagreeing with you at times. So it's like, yes, I can understand the angle where it's commendable to say, like, oh, the protection provided even in a storm, to still be protected. Like, I also would want to touch upon the fact that, maybe there's an element of it where it's like that is a little blow to the ego and or pride, because I would imagine, like, you know what I mean? Like, even like we could sit here and we could say, like, the LeBron James of infidelity, whatever, or we could say, like, everything that I think most people are with. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you'd be like, yo, the game is the game. You know what I mean? Like, if it
it
gets,
is,
if
yeah.
it, like,
But
if I do it, it could get done to me. But it's like, when it's done, that feeling,
Mhm.
like,
that's another conversation.
oh,
But
100%.
like,
No, 100%. And I mean, like, I was only saying it
nigga,
because,
I ain't saying it hurt. Like,
no, no,
you know what I'm saying? But
no,
I'm just saying, no, but I'm
I'm only
saying that,
saying that from when he said, like, as far as the protection provided. I'm like, yeah, like, it's protection for everybody. Because, like, I'll put myself in your shoes, so I'm not speaking for you.
Yeah.
Like, yo, I probably wouldn't want to tell my boy that, like, yo, it finally came back. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
But why not?
cause like I feel like like I said, like it's just like it's a one of those little ego pride moments where it's like,
I feel you. I don't know. My ego work a little different, yo. And y'all, like, even by some of the things that I say on here, but is yo, I don't feel no type of way. It really was like I didn't have any desire to embarrass her in that way. We wasn't getting ready to do like no tit for tat thing, regardless of what she was doing and what she was telling people. I largely stayed silent, and it actually because of that, like it hurt me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because people, when you're not saying anything and the other party is, it only causes for speculation amongst those who you know. And so when we're coming into these large gatherings, or I'm on, like social media, getting um direct messages from people that I don't even really talk to like that, except for like a occasional meeting. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right,
is is like, yo, I'm not out here just telling what it is that, because the reality is, like, yeah, like it was horrible, but it was really just the straw that broke the camel's back. And I'm not getting ready to get into, I'm not gonna embarrass her, but also I'm not getting ready to get into like the nuances of my breakup. Like, it should just be
hundred
good enough
percent,
for you to know that we're not together anymore. The
right,
reason that I like I said, I didn't say, like, I wasn't trying to put it all out there, is because just like, when you, like, yo, when you and your lady, like, y'all might get in a fight or whatever, and like y'all, or you might even do it, on on a regular basis. So you don't, like, you're not going to go to your parents and say and let them know everything that happens in your house, because what's going to happen is you guys are going to be able to get over that. And then, you know what I'm saying? Like, but your family's not. And all
and
they
that,
can see is yeah, and all they can see is that, yo, this person's a scoundrel. Like, they're trash. They're this, they're that. And it's like, yo, that's not the way that that I would have wanted for it to go down. The reason that I had and I'm talking about, when I'm talking about telling people, I mean, like, just my immediate
yeah,
family,
yeah, of
like, you know what I'm
course, we'll
saying,
talk
like
about
my,
immediate
like,
family.
yeah, my parents, my brothers, and my two of my brothers, and their wives. And this is because, like, we were always together. This is you know what I mean, like, this is not really something that I could continue to, you know what I mean, like, because now it's like, well, now I'm gonna be on the outside of the circle, because people are just not, like, they're not understanding, like, like, my side. And so, like, and like I said, when you have people that have your best interests at heart, they're not going to be anti your marriage. They're just going to say, like, like, we're praying for you, we want you to do this, and, say, oh, well, maybe you should try this, man, maybe this, da, da, da. But that it's over. You know what I mean? Like, and I can't, I'm sitting there like, yo, I can't, I'm not going to put it out there, but I'm just not going to be receptive to what you're saying. I do understand the way that it makes people feel when you're, like, when you're amongst the group, especially amongst a group of married people that you came up with, and then y'all don't last. That is disappointing. Like, to,
Yeah,
what I
but
mean?
see,
Like,
you know what? I hate to say it, but this ain't a relay race. Like, me messing my part up is not contingent on the whole team messing their part up. Like, you know what I'm saying?
yes,
Like, y'all stay
but that goes to your
married.
point. Like, that's,
Y'all be
yeah,
blessed.
that's, that,
This part over here,
yeah.
we ain't got it.
But
No.
it's like, yo, I mean, but yo, I mean, what I'm saying, like that, but there's that thing, right, that you have kind of inside you, where you're like, yo, it's always disheartening to see somebody, like, people that have been, yo, bro, I thought that, I'm like, yo, 15 years, and we just wasted all that time, right? And I get to work and start hearing, like, other people's stories, and this is crazy because it's not even like provoked conversation. It just comes up, and I'm finding, like, people have been married like 20 years. Like, somebody told me yesterday that, like, his parents is married like 32 years, bro. 32 years,
All
and
you
they
have to
and, and
do,
and split up. And I'm like, yo, like, that is disheartening. That doesn't mean it's gonna happen to me. It, what I'm saying, like, but it kind of was like, oh man, like, it, you know what I mean? Like, if you ain't careful, if you don't do the maintenance, like, anybody can get got.
100%. Because I mean, like, I think, like, if you just think of mortality, it's unfortunate when you look at a decade and a half. But if you think of the fact that, like, if you're planning to live till 100, like, did you have 60 more of that in you?
Mhm.
Like, that's what people have to look at. Like, you know what I mean? That's why I said like time is kind of like time can be like a really foolish distraction.
Sure.
So, all right, I'm gonna give you guys the number to my iPad against my own wishes, eventually, so that you can call in and as well as leave your messages. But somebody said I would rather take it to the grave and be the bad person that destroy than destroy the character of another person, even if they wouldn't do the same for me. And that's really that you know what I'm saying. Like yo, that's really like the way that I felt because at the end of the day, this thing was the you know what I mean like I said it was the avenue to the end of our relationship to the exit but you know what I mean like ultimately I can only look at things that I could have done better because I can't control her. I can't like I can't be like oh man if you had gone and got some years of therapy we might have made it. Nah, that's you know what I mean like all I can really all I can really do is try to improve myself to have been you know what I mean like if maybe if I mean I don't believe that if I were a better husband and our relationship would have been better. We might not have split up, but that doesn't mean that our relationship would have been better. I still you know what I mean like we might have been in the same places. So but I would like to know that if I'm ever in that situation again, that I'm, you know what I mean, like that person is really getting the best of me because in this situation, she really wasn't. It's just you know what I mean? Like and if I keep it a buck, like I don't know that there were even long enough stretches where she ever did and that's on me, regardless of anything that she did. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like that stuff,
No, that's
like that
real.
stuff is that's on me. I can say, oh, I can talk to him blue in the face about things that I didn't like that she did, but the you know what I'm saying. But the question that I asked myself before I talked to anybody about this, even when I confronted her about what I found out, was I had to ask myself, like, but what if I was married to me? And you know what I'm saying? Like, would I have been able to have enjoyed being married to me? And the answer was no. Like
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like I if I was married to myself, I would have made myself miserable. And so I can only imagine for somebody who does like you, and I understand myself, and I can say that. And so
That's
imagine for
honest.
somebody else that's trying, that's trying to or trying to figure out how to communicate, trying to figure out how to maybe like make things work. Like so, it was just bad from Jump Street. So when I was saying last week, like yo, we did it too early. There, I mean, like it's just a lot of things attributed to the deterioration
It's
of our relationship.
it's okay to
But
be sure.
yeah, oh yeah,
And like you know what I mean? Like you could have easily been together for a year or two more and decided like, no, this would be a cool person to have children with.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? As opposed to like oh my fault.
No,
Yeah,
no.
yes, go
Continue,
ahead.
continue.
No, I mean just as opposed to like like we always talk about like you trying to get as much information as possible, and now I can see where kind of like that helps in you having such a firm stance on as much information as possible going forward to try to like make decisions and things of that nature because like you don't want to do anything premature again, for
Yeah,
lack of better words.
yeah, and that's why I'm saying like like that like I would have to be sure, and so also to clarify because maybe I didn't make this clear in the last episode because there were several people who thought that I was saying that I would never get married again. That's not what I said. I was saying that I don't have a desire to do it like all willy nilly. I'm not. It's not just gonna happen because I feel like I'm like yo yeah I'm happy like I want to like it. There's a lot of boxes that that I would need to check in and like not just like for the person, but I'm saying personally to be able to, and of course, it's like, oh, you don't wait until to try to get perfect to be married. No, like that's not really what I'm waiting for. If I'm being honest, I'm saying that like I'm not just like not perfect, but not all the way healed in my heart. Like there's certain things that I don't, you know what I mean? Like certain things that I think and certain things that I might do that I'm not comfortable. Like I wouldn't want to put somebody through. I don't want to for you to have to deal with why, what I'm saying? Like my trust issues. There are some things that I can get over before I get into like deep in that relationship because there's just ways that I don't want to treat somebody. And I'm fine being alone until I can be that guy. Because anybody that I'm getting ready to marry, like they deserve to be able to have the best of me. And even if I don't get the best of them, I can't control that. I
Yeah,
just want to be.
I think that's something that like in it, I mean, of course it will come with age, but I mean, I think probably like a decade sooner like that's something that you'd hear women saying, like when dudes are trying to like force them into dating them. And it's like, nah, you'll be all right. Like, we can figure this out. Like, come on, shorty. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and she's like, nah, like, I'm really trying to heal. Like, I don't want to bring this into this. So, like, respect the fact that I'm honest enough with you to say, like, yo, I'm really not there yet. Like, you know what I mean? And the thing is, I always tell you, like, I mean, like, it's a shot in the dark, of course. But it's like, it happened for my man right here. Like, you know what I mean? And I honestly believe that, like, yo, when it comes down to it, like, yo, we're only 50% from the last time we had the conversation. Cause like we had the conversation and both of y'all sounded exactly like you sound. And then it's like, oh, well, half of that changed. Like, and it's literally like, yo, like if a person just provides the emotional safety, like maybe you take that walk with them. But it's like, yo, stop talking to me about titles. Like provide a lifestyle and or a interaction between the two of us that makes it title worthy. Like stop worrying about what the thing is called and what the thing looks like and actually worry about the thing. And then we can name it later.
Right. And I had wanted to ask that last week. Being that you two both had been married previously, like how do you navigate dating or getting involved with whomever at this point, like because you've been through what you've been through, you've experienced what you've experienced, and now it's like like how do you filter out what you're gonna allow into your life at this point?
I think you have to utilize the information that you gained from your previous relationship and put that into the equation, right? What I'm looking for now isn't what I was looking for when I was in my 20s prior to when I got married. I understand the difficulty that marriage is. I understand the ups and downs of a marriage, you know what I mean? And the trials and tribulations that come along with that. There's always good and there's always bad. How do you deal with that? You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking to utilize all the information that I've gained throughout that time and put not only like AJ is saying, the best product forward for that individual, but to receive that in return, right? So I think it's a lot of growth, right? And you have to be prepared to be intentional with your time, with your space, with your energy, and be honest with people. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's difficult to be honest, but
that honesty part,
it's tough.
Yeah.
Because I'll be honest and share a little bit about myself. When I was getting into it, you know what I'm saying? When I was getting into it, I was like, listen, this is how I'm moving. This is how I want you to move. You know what I'm saying? I want you to be respectful. I want you to be safe. I'm going to do the same. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not trying to go here right now. Are you cool with that? If you're not, you're going to be a great person by yourself like you were, and I'm going to be a great person by myself like I am. You know what I'm saying? And it was difficult for me to say that. And I went and I touched base with some of my people. You know what I'm saying?
Good thing to say.
But you say that, but it's difficult for people.
It definitely was.
Like remember
when I reached out to my network,
set you free. Yeah, like, it's mad liberating to just say that.
Yeah, when I reached out to my network was like, "Yo, you're crazy," because I've met said individual and Shorty's dope. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, listen, I think I have to start this way to be honest with myself, right?
And with her, that's mad respectful.
Absolutely. Because if she chose to make a move for herself because she wasn't comfortable with that,
it's the risk you take.
God bless you. You know what I'm saying? Because she was dope before she met me, she's gonna be dope after. 100%. You know what I'm saying? And I understand my value and who I am, so we're gonna be great. Either way, together we could be amazing, but separate, we still gonna be dope. Yeah. You know what I mean? I gave myself the space to be honest with myself, and I gave her the space to be honest with herself. And with that, like honesty, I'm like, yo, what am I doing?
Right.
Yeah. Okay, like
the investment, the energy was versus there. Need-based relationship.
You know what I'm saying? Like.
Right. Oh my
and nobody was outcome dependent. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Like, I'm really looking for a girl. I really want to get back, and she wasn't looking for anything either. You know what I'm saying? But we found ourselves in a space where it's like, yo, I respect you, you respect me. Like, let's rock this out and see what happens.
But see, like, if the situation is right, in my opinion, when you say the truth, it's gonna either show okay, he's good at boundaries.
Mm.
He's good at being truthful.
Mm.
Like, you know what I mean? Like the right person should value these things. Even if your boundaries don't align, you'd be like, you know what? I
Yes.
appreciate that you didn't waste my time
Yeah.
and you told me
Yeah.
where you stand because
Yeah.
I have a hard boundary myself
Mhm.
that doesn't align with your hard boundaries. So this won't work.
Yeah.
But shout out to you.
Yeah.
You
And that's
know
one
what
of
I
my
mean?
pet peeves anyway. I don't like people wasting my time, bro. Like,
So
And then
so
that-
imagine that's your pet peeve. I don't know, a decade and a half your junior, but you're still playing the game out here. So it's like, well, what comes the dating game?
yeah.
Introduce them to
Mm.
your representative and kind of
Right.
like hold all your cards.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So
absolutely.
basically, like
Been
you're
there, done
like,
that.
you're like, yo, don't waste my time, but I'm totally down to
Yeah,
waste
man.
yours.
Yeah, man.
Like-
Yeah, yeah. Listen, we was playing spades, all the cards up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have blind faith in my partner. You know what I'm saying? Like, we gonna run the table. We still gonna set everybody. You know what I'm saying? But it was tough though. Like, honestly, it was tough to say that and not know how you're gonna react because I'm like, yo, I really enjoy spending time with this individual, and this could be like, all right, bro, I'm good because that's not what I'm looking for.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But everything happened to work out, and we
But,
still
like,
we still
and
rocking together to this point. So
That's
you know what I'm
what's
saying?
up.
I respect it.
And to your point, like everybody wins in that situation because you learn whether or not that's your person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you're being transparent, you put everything out on the table. It's like you're either gonna figure out that this person's gonna rock with you, and that's the type of person you want to rock with,
Absolutely.
or hey, wow, she was not, or he was not gonna be able to go the distance with me, like at all.
Because now you know that, like, yo, above how it could look to the outside looking in, like
Mhm.
this thing that's happening here is actually a real thing that we're both
Right.
feeling.
Sure.
Because even if I say, yo, I'm cool on the title, you're like, yeah, but she's like, yeah, but I'm not cool on this.
Mhm.
And you're like, well, I'm not cool on this either. I kind of wanted you to stay, but I just didn't want to. We just become best friends.
Yeah.
So kind of going back to the title and why we got here. Why did you get married, or why would you want to get married? What does that look like for the individuals in the room right now?
I'm already married.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood. I get that. But for those of us that aren't married right now, what would, with the information and the relationships that we've lived, what does that look like for us right now, or what do we imagine that would look like? And could you be as honest as I was in that moment? Because I'm telling you straight up, it was difficult.
Yeah. So I mean, honesty is like really, 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 really like a huge thing for me.
Mhm.
And just for those simple facts that we just discussed, like I want to know what I'm getting into. I don't want to find out, weeks, years, months, whatever down the line that like, yo, we're not even aligned at all.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't want you to give me your representative.
Mhm.
I want to know, what it is that you're feeling about this situation, and even if, because I mean, I've been in situations where somebody was like, even myself, like I was pretty much still in a healing phase, but I wasn't going to like hide myself. I wasn't going to keep it stay in a position where like, all right, I'm not gonna get out there and start like at least allowing conversations, allowing friendships to happen. But I had to be honest about what it is that I wanted and what I needed, essentially. And then on top of that, for me, like just last year when I got saved, everything changed again, because it went from like, all right, I can allow this type of person into my life, and now I've really had to narrow down the type of person that I would even want to be with. And so that whole equally yoked thing like just became that much more prevalent for me. So it went from like, all right, I can entertain this type of person, to like, yo, I absolutely cannot entertain that, because I already know, like, like simple, like you don't believe in God, I can't even talk to you.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like just being transparent about who I am, what I expect, what I can provide, I guess I should say. And you gotta give that in the beginning if you're really trying to have something real.
I agree.
I think like, and even I'll go further into what you saying. Like I people don't talk about enough about this, but you know what I mean. Like, but just as somebody like yo, when you're my age and you're single at in church, and like you know what I
Oh
mean. Like
man.
you know what I mean. Like you're like they're
Oh,
you're not at a disadvantage for like for people wanting to date,
Hot
and
cake.
so it's but in terms of what Siobhan was saying, like to being equally yoked, being equally yoked is not even necessarily somebody else that's saved. Like just because we're saved does not mean that we're
Right.
equally yoked.
yo,
And it's
Right.
and it'd be mad annoying for the people that be trying to hook it up or trying to do it. Like okay, but
yo,
just because okay, so we're both going to heaven, but but there's gonna be some people there that you know what I'm saying. Like I might live in the western part of heaven, like you know what I'm saying. Like you know what I mean. Like I might. Like I told y'all, like I might not want to wear a crown in my section of heaven. It might be
Right.
like a do rag with jewels in it. Like you know what I'm saying?
Yo,
So,
I think
Yo.
that's a not really broadcasted part of dating in a faith-based lifestyle.
yeah,
Like yo, man, like there's a lot of people that think that that's it.
Right. Oh, just
They'd be like, oh yeah,
everything.
oh man,
Oh,
I know this nice young man for you. You know he's been sick. Like yo,
Yeah.
fam, what is he like? Like what does he do?
Right.
yeah,
What does he
Right.
look like?
yeah,
What does she look like? What does she do?
yeah.
Like what is her
They
like?
go
What's
to
her?
church. That's what they do.
That's it.
Right.
That is
That's
the
it.
extent of it.
I mean,
Like
yo,
yo,
like,
she's great at Bible study.
Right.
Okay, like talk to me about like what
Yeah.
else does she do?
Like
Like
you, yeah, like you want all that, but it's not just all of that because we're not only gonna go home to have church. Like you know what I'm saying? Like you still, and of course, like you live
but
the
you could do
outside.
anything with the love of
right.
God.
You know, I mean, yo, but you're
I mean,
looking
you're
for,
right.
That's how they
You're looking for
That's not
companionship.
fair.
Like, you're looking for companionship as well, bro.
exactly.
And it's like, yo, we gotta have stuff in common. But not only that, like, is like somebody that you gonna be able to talk to. I think probably an advantage because we haven't said very many of like an advantage of being on like this side because dating sucks. But you know what I'm saying? Like, but like now because I'm really like I'm proud I'll be with age appropriate females without when I
Yeah.
say like people that are around my age and like at this stage in the game like you like they not that they don't wear makeup and stuff but like you look like what you look like yo so like you can't hide a lot of stuff so like I just want to throw out there an advantage yo it's like yo like 40
Yo.
40 plus like you know what I mean like you know what it is. Like I can tell what you're doing at this point because you know what I mean. Like I be on YouTube too. Sometimes I see the tutorials by mistake. Like it's like
smoky eye.
Yeah, her makeup, her makeup was dope, but she need to catch that neck. Like,
She didn't blend properly.
like,
That's a wild dinner critique. Like going back to your boys, like yo, man, her blend was like the skin tone with the color she picked.
and she messed up on her eyebrows, so it just looked like she didn't believe what I was saying. Like
She was surprised the whole time. Like,
Aw.
like yo, we playing this dinner. Why are you surprised to be here?
the people's eyebrows.
Oh man, it was uneven.
Jesus, that's
But
unequally yoked too.
But yo, but yo, I think it's okay to be like. I think single doesn't mean that you're messed up, and people
Right.
need to be okay with being single. Like you know what I mean. Like especially after a certain age, like you know what I mean. Like if it's the time for you to do that, do that.
Yeah.
Like because once again, like when we keep talking about why did I get married, like people rush that
Yo, now
to get out of the.
they do into but like this is a very important part is like all right when you talk about people that are that are like around our age that are not married a big part of them wanting to get married a lot of times is that the feeling of aloneness is underrated and sometimes like it
Right.
can feel like it's undefeated. I had and of course because of like it was just like a lot going on at the time so it's like all right well I got like my grandmother just passed I got all this stuff it's like all right but everybody's together for this meeting like every church in our jurisdiction like everybody's like we're coming together every night so it's like you feel it but it's like you're around people so much like you didn't even really get to feel that sting but then like as soon as the meeting was over it was like the last like our official day like last night once everybody was gone like it you know what I mean like that feeling that I usually don't am good about like kind of it like yo, it almost got me. Yo,
Set
like
in.
because it was like yo, is the reality of aloneness. I knew that I was going home. I knew exactly what I was gonna do, and I was just gonna be, you know what I'm saying, like by myself. I felt the way, you know what I'm saying, like already kind of, you know, like just beginning to grieve and all the, you know, and all of these things. I'm not around like everybody, you know, these people they're going back to Worcester, they're going back to Boston, they're going back to you know, to their homes. Everybody has, you know, like even to my parents, like, you know, like it was my dad's mom, but you know what I'm saying, like he's going home, my mom's there, like, you know what I'm saying, it's like I'm going home, it's just me.
You know, this is the exact same thing you said about the holidays, right?
Yes, and this is why I'm bringing this part of why I'm bringing it up, because you know what I'm saying, because like that feeling can put you in a place that you don't, you know, that you don't want to be.
Mhm.
And I know, you know what I'm saying, like, and even, and I'm, you know, Terrell can tell his own story, but there, you know, like there's certain times of the year when he feels a certain way because of, you know, like the around the time of the year that, you know, that his wife, you know, is like her birthday. And so, you know what I mean? Like it, and so like you know what I mean? It can just like, but that it feels like, it just feels like aloneness, and it's almost like it's like swallowing you up, and you don't want to talk to people, but you need to talk to people.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you don't
Right.
like you don't want to see people. Like, so you know what I mean? Like I spent like that one night at home, and then I went to work, and then I was just pretty much like just like around people. I make sure that, you know what I'm saying, like I was talking, whether it was to, you know what I'm saying, like to you guys. I see, you know, I be seeing TV like at work, so we don't get to chop it up as much, but we do check in, and then Siobhan. And so it's like, you know, but I'm saying like, yo, this is the way that I felt. Now I was happy because you know what I'm saying, because it didn't get me. And I was,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, and I didn't
Mhm.
even feel like, I was like, nah, I'm not even going down that path. But yo, the reality is people end up together because it's like, yo, you know, like you're like the last one to find a lab partner. And you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right,
you
right,
know,
right.
like you're trying to partner up with somebody because you just don't want to be alone. And that's
Right.
like, that's not the way to be. But it's, you know what I mean? Like, but it feels like you're in a catch 22 because like, yo, you know, like Cat Williams, he was like, yo, yeah, it's all good being single until you end the night in that lonely kitchen. I'm like, why don't you send me somebody, Jesus?
Oh man.
You know,
For me, it was about beginning to love myself again. You know what I mean? And going through that journey and understanding that I felt dependent on another person to love me, right? When I have the ability to love myself.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And the more I poured into myself, and the more I was introspective and figuring out my own stuff, I became aware that I could love myself, and loneliness didn't bother me as much as it once did.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Because I didn't have to seek for outward validation from other people's,
Right.
because I knew I had me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's great that you have your circle and you have all these other people that you can reach out to, but not everybody's going to always be available. You got a lot of stuff going on right now. You know what I'm saying? So it'd be great to be able to reach out and extend my hand to a lot of people.
Right.
But if those things aren't available to me, I have to hold myself up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So beginning to go through that journey and figuring out my own stuff and beginning to love myself, I think it made me better at loving other people.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Because I don't need anybody to love me. So I was even able to say, you know, to this individual, listen, I'm good by myself. If you don't want to rock with me, I'll be good because I'm not dependent upon your love. I love myself enough to hold me down. You know what I'm saying? And it gave me the courage to be that honest with someone when, you know what I'm saying, you don't want to be alone. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be alone. You know what I'm saying? But I got me enough to know that if I have to be alone, I'm still going to be good.
Right.
Oh, but the crazy part is like I value my alone time. I love it. Like,
Bro,
you know what I'm saying? It's just like
Yeah.
like during those
certain
those
moments.
times,
I
bro.
got
I go to the movies by myself. I do like a lot of things. Like I just enjoy it. You know, I told you like you know what I mean? Like I will go places even out of town, and just, so we got this one friend and he's like friends with everybody, even people that he doesn't know. So like, you know what I mean? Like I just, you know, I just like started like doing like just being, you know, like being more social, because at the end of the day, like I'm you know, I'm cool either, you know, like if we link or if we don't, if we, you know what I'm saying, if we have something in common to talk about, if we don't. But it's like in those in those critical spaces though, and then because where I'm going with is that it just leads to depression,
Mhm.
and that everybody is not always able to to climb out of that. And so as opposed to the holidays, you know what I'm saying, like this would, like this would have been something that, you know what I'm saying, like I feel like, oh man, nah, I'm gonna have to, you know what I'm saying, like I'm gonna have to like fall back or like go stay with my parents or something like that for for a couple of weeks so that I just be like around people. But it's like I didn't even feel that feeling. I was just like, yo, well, nah, I'm not doing this. You know what I mean? Like, yo, I really, and so it's crazy because you hear people say like, well, I just like I'm just gonna pray and I'm gonna do like nah, like yo, but I spoke to God like I'm talking to y'all, like yo, like this is exactly what I'm feeling. Like the only way that I'm not gonna feel this is if you take it away. Now, if you don't, like, you know what I'm saying? Like you know what I mean? Like I'm gonna have to deal with it, but I really don't want to, you know what I mean? Like I don't want to be here, and you know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to, whatever. And I didn't feel, you know what I mean? Like it was like it just began to be lifted. I didn't feel heavy, and so I didn't, you know what I'm saying? Because I was in that situation. Like I said, like Kay's at work, you're at work, Ryan's at work, Siobhan's at work. My parents, you know what I mean? Like my dad, like what is he gonna do to console me? Like his mom just died. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like my brothers, like they're, you know what I mean? Like they're you know what I mean? Like they're being struggling for their family. What I'm gonna do is come in and be like, oh, can I be one of your kids today? Not like so like so it was really that, like that thing. But I was really, and I was cool with the, like with the situation overall. But I'm acknowledging that I know that people sometimes pair because to run away from that feeling, just to feel like they have somebody, and it's not a healthy thing to do. Like you were saying, it's like you want to be comfortable enough with yourself to be cool being alone, and that's you know what I'm saying, like, and that's where, like, for me, I would rather be alone than in another relationship like the ones, plural, that I just came out of.
Right.
And so, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I was just thinking that as you were saying that will lead you to make poor decisions.
Oh, my God.
And relationships are a big part of your life. Like who you choose to spend your time with is huge. So if you make a poor decision where that counts, man,
I feel like you're the version of me that made the right decision. Oh my God. I feel like you always got that, like, just one sibling that just learns by watching everything the other one does wrong. I feel like I was definitely that for my brothers. And like, but
you're the oldest.
You're the draft. That's how that goes.
I was just about to say that too. I think that comes from the wisdom of others, man. Like I've seen some of my siblings go through some of the hardest times in their life. Like I've seen like dudes that are hard, that were broken, and have bounced back in amazing ways. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yo, I come from the same stock. I know. And also, I'm blessed because my family is extremely open, where he shared with me the things that he did wrong. And he's like, don't be like me, be better. Right. So if I have the opportunity to make this choice or this choice, I would suggest you do this because this is where I went left. And I don't want you to take that route because I know where that route goes. You know what I'm saying? So we're open enough to have those kind of dialogues where I can be wise, right? And the ability to say that I learned from somebody else's experience. I didn't have to live it myself to learn from it. But that also comes with being the youngest and seeing other people stumble and fall. You know what I'm saying? So I can't say that I am the person I am myself. You know what I'm saying? Great parents, but my siblings have a lot to do with the version of myself that you guys get to see and live with, because I've seen them go through so many difficult, amazing, great things, difficult things, and they've always led me to the easiest route. You know what I'm saying? They've bushwhacked all this stuff for me. So when it's time for me to walk down the road, I'm like,
you already know which way to go.
Man,
exactly.
Man, the path is clear. They left signage. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is smooth. You know what I'm saying?
And even keys to a car.
And even in these moments where I still have struggles, I can pick up my phone at any time and call any one of them, and they'll be right there and be like, listen, bro, this is what I think you should do. You got to be your own man and make your own decision. But I've been here. This is my experience when I made this move. This is how I think you should do it. Ultimately, I'm going to leave you to it. But, you know what I'm saying? And then I'd be like, all right, I'm going to go call the other one. The other one's like, yo, man, I'm going to tell you to do the exact opposite thing because my brothers are very different. You know what I'm saying? One will be like, yo, you should go left. The other one will be like, yo, go right. But I still have to have the discernment to say, they made great points for either lane. but I still have to drive my car in my direction.
For
And
sure.
sometimes that's charting the path last traveled and figuring it out for myself, or it's like, listen, my values and my things align more with sibling A versus sibling B, so I'm gonna rock with this one.
Right. Think like just thinking about everything you two talked about, like when you talked about the loneliness and like it went back to the initial question from last episode about like sense of obligation, or you know what I mean, like entering a union for obligatory reasons. And no disrespect when I say this to you, AJ, but I remember you talking about like your wife being like expecting,
Right.
and that's how things started.
Right.
So that's a different level of obligation.
Right.
But I want to talk about the growth from just the obligation. Like, you know, when we're talking about why did you
Of course. So basically it starts off as, all right, like, because I wasn't looking to get married. So like, because I'm 22, like, that's not to say it's the furthest thing from my mind, but it's something that like I'm not planning for it. So like it's in my mind. Eventually, yes, I do want to get married. Eventually I want to have children, but like at this point I'm not thinking about it. So then I find out my girlfriend at the time is expecting. So I'm like, all right, so what do you do now? It's put up or shut up time. That's the way I look at it. Like, who are you going to be? Who do you want your children to see you as? Because you're going to have a child. So like, so it starts off as obligation, but you also, for me, I also love my wife because like I wouldn't have dated her if I didn't like her. Yeah. So like, it starts off with a piece of each, and I'm looking at it like, all right, the obligation is towards my child first, and then when I got married, I'm like, all right, now the obligation is to God, so which is a higher obligation, in my opinion. So after that, like as the years go by, like you learn each other, you learn different things because there's stuff. We were only dating for I think a year or two. So there was like a little bit of change in between. So we were still getting to know each other, and it's basically like, all right, who do you want to be type of thing. Like I want to be the type of person where you can call me to fix things and I fix them. Like, and that's including myself. Not to say I never made mistakes, because there was little things that like we do out of jealousy. Like, all right, you can't have guy friends. Like, but that was the first thing. I'm like, oh yeah, nah, you can't have guy friends because I'm a guy and the other. Like, not that I don't trust you as a woman, but I don't trust the person that's trying to pursue you. Like, and anybody can be led astray. I mean, it's a mistake type of thing. Like, however, like you choose it, but like to put you in that position, I didn't want to do that. So like still a sense of obligation, however, coming out of a place of love. Like, I don't want to see you in a light that I'm not prepared to see you in. So because of that, I was like, oh, you can't have guy friends. Then we had a whole conversation going back and forth, and she made solid points because I have female friends. And I'm like, all right. And now I see her point of view, because now I'm looking at it like, all right, I don't look towards my female friends in that light. And she doesn't do that to her male friends as well. But there are boundaries, like we were talking about last episode. So like there's boundaries that are clear cut that you have to be like, all right, this is acceptable, this is not acceptable type of stuff. And I have to trust my wife, because now it's going into another place, because I have to trust my wife in love to be able to respect my boundaries when I'm not around, which is hard for any relationship. Like your best friend, you be like, yo, this is what I like at my house. I'm about to leave for a second. And you leave them there to watch the house. Like, some best friends are like, all right, cool. Like, and some best friends throw a party. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, man.
Like, some best, like, not everybody respects the relationship and your boundaries. So, like, that's a place of love to be able to be like, you know what? Even though this is what I want, out of love and out of respect for the person I have, I'm going to respect this boundary. And it grows from that. Like, it just grows from every day. Like, all right, she doesn't like this. All right, is it a big deal for me? Is it something that I can stop? Is it a habit that I can break? Like, one of the things, I'm a musician, so I play music at all times. I play music at all times of the night. If I get inspired, if I'm just bored, and I play it, I usually play it loud. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I plug in my speaker, like, not to say like I'm trying to blast the whole house, but like it's loud enough where like you can hear it from like maybe a room or two away.
Right.
Like, and it was just, all right, when she goes to sleep, when my baby goes to sleep, like being mindful. turning the music down a little bit, like just being mindful if they're trying to sleep. Like, even though I want to practice, like, it is not important for me to have the music as loud as I would like it. So, and then just like growing in that love, like growing in that, being available to her, like even when I don't understand, because there's times where I don't even understand why you're crying. I don't get it. Like, one of the things when she was pregnant, she asked me, she went to the grocery store, she asked me if I wanted something to drink. I said yes. I wanted a Simply Lemonade. Anybody ever? Simply Lemonade is great. One of my what? Liar? Oh, he said fire. I thought he said liar. I'm like, excuse me. Right.
Simply Lemonade is expensive enough to be true.
Yes, it is. So what ends up happening is I'm at her sister's house. We're chilling. We're hanging out. She comes back with her sister. She comes back with Simply Limeade. Oh, right. So she's pregnant. So she comes in. She's like, "Is this what you wanted?" And I look at it and I'm like, "It's all right." But to her, her feelings are now hurt because she's emotional. She's pregnant. Like, she has a lot of stuff going on. So now she's like, "Oh my gosh, I had one job. Like, I was just supposed to come back." And I'm like, "No, it's okay. I'll drink it." Like, she starts crying. Like, because I'm like, it's not that deep to me. However, it is not what I want, because I'm an honest person. Like, it's not what I wanted. However, I'll still drink it. Like, and I'm gonna drink it because,
like, if anything, I should be crying. I don't.
Right.
No,
like, you actually did.
To be real, that's exactly what I said. If anybody should, like that's just who I am.
Tears right now.
Right. Limeade is not the same. Honestly, recently I just got another one just to see if I'm like, was it just me? Was I just bugging out?
Like, now that cooler has prevailed, this is terrible.
Yeah, nah. This is still not good.
I really sacrificed.
I really love her.
Right.
Like,
but nah, for real, like, just knowing, like, all right, cool, like, and it's learning those things, and it's putting them into action, because it's not enough just to know information. You have to use it. Like, so like that's what it is. Like, every day it goes stronger. Every day it gets better. I had a near-death experience one day where I came back just crying. Like, basically my tire fell off my car on the highway. I was on the left lane, flies off the car. I make it over to the right by the grace of God. I can't use the phone. The gas station dude won't let me use the phone. Undercover cop pulls up behind me. Then he calls I think AAA for me, gets everything situated. So I get home and I just break down. And like, in that moment, like, I'm like, none of this matters. Like, I don't really care. Like, in that moment, like, all right, like, I could have never seen my children before again. I could have never seen my wife again. I was on my way to go pick her up. She would have been stranded.
Wow.
Like, it would have been like, and that's when I started to look at things just differently. Like, all right, like, I appreciate you for the things that you're doing. I appreciate you for the things that you've done, even if I don't like always notice it. Like, because there's things that, like, my wife was a stay-at-home mom for a little bit. So like, I'd come home, and if anybody's ever seen a stay-at-home mom or been a stay-at-home mom, you understand, like, all right, there's some times where I've cleaned the room 6 times, the same room with your children there every day, like the whole day. And then what happens is, right before I get home, the kids mess it up again. So now, for me, I left with it dirty. I came back and it's dirty. I don't know any of the information.
What you been doing all day?
Exactly. And that's how it feels. Like,
which
that's my
can
feeling.
Seem insensitive.
Right. It is insensitive. Like, that's just the truth of it. Like, I've had conversation with people prior because they've asked me about it. I'm like, yo, is it worth it? I'm like, you have to be mindful that while you were in the course of your work day, she was also in the course of a day. Like, it was a work day for her.
100%.
Like, you don't see all the things that happen because you may not have cameras in your house. If you did have cameras in your house, you would see, all right, she cleaned this room, she cleaned this. You would see that she polished this, like little things that you don't even notice. Like, oh, she took out the trash because she knew you were tired. Like, little things. And like, those are things that are the most important, because it says, I see you. Like, I see you, and I understand that you work hard, and I want to make your job easier. And in those moments, I was inconsiderate because, like, I wasn't trying, like, I wasn't like, all right, let me help clean up the living room. I was just like, yo, what was you doing all day? Like, and like, it's dismissive to what she's done, especially if she's done other things. Because now it's like, I'm the type of person where no news is good news. And my wife is a person that likes affection. She likes words of encouragement. So we're
Okay.
opposites, literally. Like, so like
Gotcha.
for me, if I don't say anything, we straight. Like we cool. Like no news is good news. Like we great. So, but for her, if you don't say anything, and like when you do say something, it's always chastisement or it's always something that you noticed that was wrong. Like even if you're not saying it like in a mad, belligerent way or something like that, you're just like, yo, I noticed type of stuff. Like it's disconcerting or disheartening for her. So that's another thing that I had to change. Like I had to start looking actively, like, and it was another form of love to start looking actively for things that she has done well, things that I appreciate, like, and then just giving her those words of affirmation because that's not what I was used to. Like if we walked in the house, in my mom's house, if the house is clean, my mom doesn't say anything. She goes to her room, everything's cool. Like, but if the house is dirty, you're gonna hear it. Like,
Yo, that's important. Like everything you said there about like, the way you receive love may not necessarily be the way your partner receives love. And
Right.
you have to love them enough to be able to give the way they receive.
Right.
But you also said something that's important about things being normalized based on how the
You were brought
household
up.
you came from is. So you like, you know what I mean? Like you wouldn't even think that that's a thing. So it's
Yeah.
like you have to be willing to unlearn and relearn to be able to coexist with whom you choose to take this journey with. Cause it's like you got to know. I think we talked about that last week. That
You
like
did.
everything's
It's
not
like,
wrong.
yo, it's not wrong.
But
It's just
it's
how you
just
grew
different.
up. It's like,
Yeah.
right, your towels don't have to be there. Like,
Right.
it's like,
Exactly.
it's like that's just the way your mom did it. Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
But
But what do you? So are you? Because I'm saying like, it's easy to be able to. Well, maybe not easy for everybody, but it's to consider somebody else and their needs in the midst of your way of thinking. I don't know anybody that wants to come home to a dirty house. I just don't.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and I understand that, like you're home, you've got things that you're doing, and well, I'm not gonna. Actually, this is actually something I had to live. So
I
I'm
got
not
you.
just talking, but it's not like you're gonna say, like you're just gonna start going in on them because the house is not clean.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but you don't feel any different. Like I do still believe that. I'm saying
Oh,
I'm,
no.
no, but I'm no, but I'm saying
Yeah.
like so. But I'm talking about on an everyday basis. I'm saying we're talking about it. I'm saying so, but in having to live it, I'm asking your opinion. Like when you're having to do this on it, so is it like we have to make compromises in marriage? This may for me is like something like I would rather do something to try to help you I mean so that I won't be set up to be upset later on.
I got you.
And so, like, you know what I mean? Like, but I think that there is a solution. I can be sensitive to your needs or what you need to hear, or or what you need my action to be, but also still get what I want. Well, how did you navigate that situation?
So we talk about clean house. So like for me, it's like this. So like I have an expectation, right? Because this is what I was brought up on type of stuff. Not that the house is like filthy or anything like that, but like just like everything's supposed to be where it's supposed to be type of stuff. Everything has a place. Everything like there's order to it kind of thing. So for me, it's more of a all right, we have to find a home for it where we both agree on. And then on top of having a home for it where we both agree on, instead of me, because what I found is that sometimes the issue is just with me. So like the other person isn't offended, it doesn't bother them. So the only way for me not to be upset is if I fix it. But my hope was that if I fix it enough, that for you, next time you go to put it back, it'll just be subconscious because every time you see it, it's there now. So like, and that's what like it's basically like finding a home for it. But like, I also want to like you said, I want to keep my peace. And in order to keep my peace, I have to do things that I mean it's not strenuous, it's just annoying. Like I don't want to do this type of stuff.
Yeah.
Like and that's really what it is. Like I just don't want to because I didn't move it. If I didn't move it, it'd still be there. Like,
Yeah, but that's I mean that's what I'm getting at. It's like like the reality of it is just like, yo, I know that I don't like this.
right.
So you know what? I'm not even gonna hold you to that standard. I'm going to do it so that it's done. And then you know what I'm saying, like, and then you can, but it's also helping like taking stuff up because I really didn't, like being young in it. Like I had my oldest son, and then his mom she was staying home. I'll be, so I'm working, I'm coming home. I want everything to be like how but I didn't really get at her like that. I just tried to like do do things by example. So I would go and come like, all right, yo, like, well, I don't believe that all of these dishes should be in the sink like after an entire day. Like I really don't. Like now it's on day 2. All right. So what I'm gonna do is just like, you know what I mean? Like I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna watch it. When I'm not even gonna sit down. I'm gonna put my backpack down. I'm gonna just go ahead and do it. Like because once I do it, it's
gonna be
done.
done.
And you know what I'm saying? Like and I can relax knowing that like I don't have to, like that's not gonna be annoying to look at, or like, oh, like, something like these things happened and I'm not really I really why is it still here? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
That's another good question.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, but it's like I kind of I sort of was just I stopped coming with the same, with those type of expectations. And I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna have to just, all right, when I get home, I'm gonna just do half of whatever is, you know what I mean? At least, because this is all I really got energy for. I'm really tired.
Right.
But you know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna just do these things. And I'm not here to tell you that it always worked out in my favor, but
it doesn't.
you know what I'm saying? Like, but it's like, well, what are you gonna do? Because I'm not getting ready to argue with no grown person over. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not doing that. Like, we have so many things to argue about. You know what I mean? And we did. So, like it's just, laundry's not gonna be wonderful. So.
I mean, I think that like you probably don't mean to be passive aggressive, but you kind of want information. Like, that sound like you was just like, yo, how was your day? and you wanted to be like, yo, man, every time I picked up, they kept making a new mess. Like, you want to hear that just to level with her and be like, oh, all right, cool. So something did happen. We wasn't just swimming through garbage all day, right?
Tell me about your day first.
That's just how it sounded. Like, it was like sounded like you just like, yo, let me get a little information.
But it's the truth of it because the truth of it is because we have that expectation because that's how we were brought up. And not everybody's brought up like we're brought up. So like people have different levels of standards. Like
it's funny, man. It's funny you say that because like while you were saying that, I think about the house that I grew up in. And it was like, yo, like I wasn't really able to like have free reign as a child to effectively live in my house because my mom had these like these standards of cleanliness, and it's like,
it's a clean zone.
Yeah, like which was the whole house. Like, you know what I mean? Like you have a room, like and clean that up too,
right?
Like
it is not exempt
for sure. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're ruining the aesthetic of this whole house by having that dirty room. Like pick that up. Like so, I understand, but I also like it's like. Trying not to be a curmudgeon like that in my household and be like, yo, like I kind of want my kids to be able to know that they live in their home. Yeah. So it's like trying to find a balance. And I'm like, yo, how much is too much, bro? No, that's why I said like how much you got to find a happy medium. You know what I mean? Like
I was like, yo, like we're having company, so I got to clean my room. But why do I got to clean my room? Because they're not coming here. The only places our company is going. Kitchen, dining room, living room, downstairs bathroom. That's it. Like you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, like why does my room have to be clean? Like you're gonna give a tour of the house and be like, oh, this is my kid. Nobody wants to see your kid's room. It's like, so why do I have to have it? But now, you know what I mean? But I tried to give my kids an inch, man, bro. They took it. I'm like, I ended up cleaning their room with a shovel. and holy well, let me tell y'all something. Like you don't want to when you're doing one final clean of a teenage boy's room.
Oh wow!
You're finding not just like the stiff socks. I found masturbation inventions. Like I mean, like, yo, but I just assume that it's a rite of passage as a parent. I don't know what all I did to my parents. I feel like I did the most chores because my
Like, yo,
brothers were
it's
held
just
to a
like-
lesser standard than I was.
Like, yo,
But-
once you decide that you want to make a certain type of mess, you have to clean that yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yo, I think I got like, yo, I really got like elementary school pickup behind you down, but like, yo, middle school, you want to start creating those type of messes, sir? Listen here, you and BET Uncut or whatever the 2000 and whatever equivalent is. This is where the washing machine is.
I mean, I thought there was people over there standing up.
Like, like that's not a
So-
cardboard.
so-
That's not a cardboard cutout.
Like, no,
That's
like,
your
yo,
sock.
no, like, you gotta wash your clothes at the laundromat. Like, just
Like, no, those gloves aren't for me to pick up after you. These gloves are for you. I understand you probably don't want to touch it either. Like, you still gonna clean it though.
yo, we work out in jail, and we always glove up before we do it. Yo, I went in my pouch and straight got gloves out of my joint. Like, yeah, I'm not touching anything in here, yo. Like,
It's a little too lived in.
You got a little too comfortable.
so
Oh man.
we're talking about why did I get married? This is the digital Boombox network, and so we've been talking about like just the progression. We talked about the loneliness. We talked about being thoughtful of one another, talking about how we can improve ourselves, the things that we look for after the fact later on in life. I think there are, I know that there are a lot of people who are curious, who would love to be able to hear Terrell's story, and he will tell that when he's comfortable. Well, and so I know this for a fact. There are people who said things,
Oh.
but Jay-
they really
but Jay-
don't though.
yeah, so,
Okay. Perhaps.
but Joey, we've been pretty much where it's not a terrible it's not a terrible outlook. I don't think anybody here would say that they didn't want to get married. I think that the overall the general consensus is that we don't want to do it a bunch of times.
Mhm.
And if you know what I'm saying, and upon the time that we do, we want to make sure that we are absolutely sure, because you want to get old, you want to grow old with together, as they say. But you know what I'm saying, like I don't want to be the 60-something-year-old at the bar that we've seen those guys. It sucks. It's like they don't, everybody knows but them. It's so,
Oh man.
Um,
Were you rapping or because I did have a question.
go ahead.
Okay, so since you're the married person, I get to direct this at you.
Not me.
And-
He's talking to the other agent.
All right, got you.
And like you said, you started with a sense of obligation and grew from said sense of obligation.
Right.
With you having children.
Yeah.
I don't know how many kids do you have.
2.
Okay. So with your children, when they get to relationship age,
Mhm.
would you advise like obligatory beginnings, or would you advise just like love-based beginnings, or how would you
Like when they first start dating type of stuff.
like when they're serious, not just like
Okay.
dating somebody for a couple weeks?
So yeah, so my goal is to teach because I have girls. I have 2
Oh,
girls.
okay,
So my goal
that changes it.
Yeah. So
For sure.
so my goal is to teach my children what it means to love somebody. Like, what does love actually mean? Like, what do you say? What are you saying? Because a lot of times we just throw it around. Like, we throw around the word love. We say I love you all the time. Nobody actually thinks about what love means until like you're at the end, until like you're in a place where like something happens, like something bad happens. Like, I want them to be able to express love ahead of time, and I also want them to know what love looks like.
Mm.
Yes,
Because that's
sir.
Love is action.
right.
For sure.
Because love isn't just saying I love you and then like, all right, every now and then I buy you a gift, and so that's nothing. Like, love is I really don't want to talk to you right now. However, you told me you're stranded and I got to get up and drive an hour to get to you.
Mhm.
Like, that's love. Like people are going to be able to show you love, and you have to be able to decipher what's love from what's people just infatuation, what's people just saying stuff just because they want something. Like, and that's what I want to teach my children. Like, when somebody tells you they love you, what do they do to back that up? And another thing is like, what I tell people, I actually grew up telling other girls this, like that were like my friends, like my sisters type of stuff. I was like, listen, if a guy loves you, you can tell how somebody loves people by how they treat other people. And I think we as people just kind of gloss over it. Like if every time the guy that you're with, like, or the girl that you're with kind of like shrugs off their mom, they shrug off whoever, like, oh, they talking junk about him, this, that, blah, 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 right? If they never have that type of, oh, my mom said, like, if my grandmother calls me right now and says, you go mow the lawn tomorrow, I don't really want to mow the lawn, but I'm gonna go mow the lawn.
Guess I'm doing it.
Right. Like I might complain about it, like I'm gonna have my say and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna go over there and mow the lawn because that's what she asked me to do.
For sure.
That's the type of love that I want them to know. Like, even when I don't feel like doing something, when I don't feel loved or anything like that, I still express love. And I think that's important because I don't want them to just get in a relationship just because so-and-so said you're cute.
Right.
Anybody can say that. I don't want you to get into a relationship just because so-and-so bought you something. You can buy yourself stuff.
Right.
Like there's things that we as people can do for ourselves. And then there's things that people do that accentuates or like adds to our life type of stuff. You want to love somebody who's going to add to you, as opposed to somebody who's going to take away. And I've been both people in life. Like I've been on both sides. I've been the person that just takes away. I've been the person that also gives. And I've also been the person to receive. So like to know, like there's different types of love. There's different, and people learn different types of love. Like it's important to express that to them and then let them know. And I don't think that I'll be the overbearing father that's like, oh yeah, like the Reggie commercial or the Reggie from what is that? Bad Boys.
Oh, okay. Right at the door with it.
Right.
And all that.
Who's that? Reggie? like I don't think I'll be that type of person, but at the same time, I do want to check and be like, yo, what are your goals? Like, because it's another thing it is like, because young love is kind of oblivious to things. Like if we're just gonna call a spade, like we're thinking about this person. I love this person. I like this person. This, that, and other. I always want to spend time with them. But what are you gonna do in 5 years?
Right.
How you guys gonna keep yourself?
How you convey that message is important because young love is also rebellious.
Right.
Yeah. And sometimes your concern can inadvertently push them closer to one another,
Absolutely.
away from you guys as parents, you
Absolutely.
and the guy's parents or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
and Juliet.
100%.
I did talk to my daughter. It's amazing that, the conversations with my grown kids is crazy because like now, we are both adults.
Perspective, right?
Yeah, it's like, so, and a lot of the things that she was saying that she had gone through, some parts of the conversation, like it was not necessarily stuff that you would want to hear from your daughter, but because I never wanted to be like overbearing or that guy with the gun or doing that, because I wanted them to be able to get to a point where they're comfortable.
I was about to say, thank God you created a safe
what's
enough
going on.
space.
Right.
Yeah,
for them to
you know
tell
what I'm
you.
saying? Like, so, she told me, and the crazy thing is, just in us having that we have a long conversation, just in us being able to have that conversation, it was easy for me to speak to her situation because a lot of the things that she's gone through, I've gone through from my end of it, to be, to be able to identify and not, what I'm saying? Like, so now when I'm talking, it's not like from judgment. It's like, well, this is what happens when this happens. And like, I know how that feels because this happened to me. And so, you know what I mean? It wasn't even like a one-sided thing. I'm like, yo, I like failed relationships, why they failed. And all, you know what I'm saying? Like, but it's like, it's working out perfectly. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like in my mind, like, yo, this feels
great.
like having a conversation with another adult. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but it was, but it really worked out because, see, you know what I'm saying? Like like she's comfortable saying that stuff.
Right.
And although, still, I'm always just gonna
It's
see the
it's
baby.
still your baby.
But it's like, I would rather know that stuff than like something happen or
100%.
something that could be avoided. Like, because like, I don't care what they, you know what I mean? Like, they could listen to my shows or my music to know
Right.
all the things that they want to, you know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. So, you know what I mean? Like, I definitely can keep you from making some mistakes, but we got to be able to have the conversation.
Right.
Like,
I think.
Go ahead.
Oh, you just let me add one more thing. So like, and I think that starts. Like, or it can start like immediately, because what I want to do, I actually just talked about this in a Bible study. I'm like, the problem with our relationship, like, so the relationship between a parent and a child changes. So like, first, the child is solely dependent on the parent, because for like 13 years, 16 years, however, until your child becomes independent, they call for you to be changed, to eat, to go somewhere. Like, they're solely dependent on you. And then like towards that middle age is when they start developing their own ideas. They're developing their own identity, who they want to be, their own morals and stuff like that. And then as they grow older, when they become adults, like AJ's child, Otis, basically the relationship's supposed to kind of change. So now, instead of it being like a dictatorship type of thing, like, now your parent is like your mentor. So your parent is supposed to be like, not to say like, oh yeah, you can't do it, because you're a person now. So now you're gonna make whatever decisions you want to make because you're a person.
Right.
So what your parents' job to do at that point is now to mentor. Oh, I think you should do this. This is the information I can give you based off the life that I've already lived. And then the last stage is actually the opposite of the first, where now the parent depends on the child. Because sometimes the parent gets old, they can't really do as much as they can much as they used to be able to do, because like they don't have the strength to do it. And that's when the child takes over, type of stuff. But the problem is,
the world's changed.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of keep them aware of certain things.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
They're oblivious. It's the exact opposite of when the child was first born. But the problem is, a lot of us get stuck in the first stage. And because we get stuck in the first stage, that's where things like your child hides things from you, because they don't feel comfortable to say things.
Right.
Or they don't feel like they have a safe enough space where they can express themselves. Like, so a thing that I talked about with my mother was one day, this is when I was having my first child, we had a disagreement. And it wasn't that I was trying to disrespect her. I was trying to voice my opinion. But because she was stuck in the first stage, she's like, oh, that's disrespectful. I'm like, I'm not trying to disrespect you. I'm just trying to I'm trying to have a conversation. Like, however, because you won't hear it, you only see it as disrespect, we can't have a conversation. So what I ended up doing was I sent her a text message. And the reason I did that is because even if she's mad, at some point she's going to read through the whole text message. Like, she may not agree with everything, but this way I can get all that I have to say out. And then she can understand what my thought process is.
Right.
And then she can say her stuff back, and then we can now have a conversation, because that's dialogue. And that's what I think is very important for people to do. Just find a way to connect with your parents if you're children. Find a way to connect with your children if you're parents. Because what we want to have safe spaces where your children don't feel like they can't tell you about something. Because
100%.
that's the fear of a parent, to find out something happened and now my child won't tell me because they're scared of how I'm going to react.
Yo, hey, we gonna have to wrap, because
My bad.
K gotta be at work. I don't want to be up off screen, so we can have our a little bit of our after off camera banter. But we appreciate you guys listening. Shout out to Donita Jones, and this is you, AJ.
Yeah, that's me.
AJ, Asia Borden, Amber Haywood. I see a lot of agreeing with the respect and the honesty, being honest. There's a lot of conversation that we can have based off of that, because I definitely had some questions. But let's see. But yeah, and then talking about how learning to communicate what's important to you, what you need and want, being able to discuss that. And so this was Why Did I Get Married Part 2. I'm pretty sure that this won't be the last conversation that we have like this, but every week we are not going to talk about getting married. It's not going to happen. But you guys got anything coming up that you want to announce before we out? You want to shout out your social medias? You got the do businesses? Are you selling Avon? Like what are you?
I sell shirts. I got one of my shirts on right now.
Hold on, y'all can't see it because he's not on. He's not on. He's
Oh no, you gotta go in front of the camera.
Oh, that's mad.
You
That's
might
mad
have to
aggressive.
stand right now.
That's mad aggressive.
Just go in front of the camera. Show the people the shirt.
But tell him,
Stand
yeah.
right, stand right here.
Yeah, come. Oh yeah,
Yo.
look over
Go,
here.
go,
I
go.
can't
Keep
see the
going.
camera. So
No, I'm gonna tell you.
Keep
Keep going. Keep going. You good right there? Yeah. Oh man.
Oh, the white.
Oh, the
took
white
everything
light,
out. Oh, you
Oh, there you go. You right there. You right there. Stay.
right
Yeah,
there.
Get the
hey,
focus.
hey, nice shirt. Nice
Yeah.
shirt.
Yeah. So just tell, let them know what you.
All right, so this is something I'm starting. It's spreadtheword.store. And it's just, this is actually the front. There's actually more on the back, but just expressing what love is.
Word.
That's dope.
That's real.
Express what love is, and he got the scripture to
Oh, yeah,
back
the
it up
scripture's
because I
on the
see.
back.
I see it. Yeah, I'm about to say. I better.
The scripture's on the back. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it?
Yep.
All
Mm-hmm.
right, cool.
Perfect.
Nice.
So yeah, and of course, like we have to revisit some of these conversations because we're, like the purpose of the show is to be able to evolve, just like KJ was saying earlier. Like the conversations that we're having now are a little bit different than the conversations we were having 6 months ago, 8 months ago.
Just shows you're growing.
It's it shows that I mean, I think we're all in different places, but I think that we can attribute that to one another and being held accountable to the things that we say and in the way that we do things. Shout out to Ryan.
Word. Shout out to Ryan.
What's the name? I forgot to send you the information, bro. That's my bad. But we gonna be back here next week. We have a different topic, more compelling conversation. We are, and so we invite you to come back to the Digital Boombox Network. As my camera dies, we invite you to come back to Digital Boombox Network next week at 8:30 p.m. sharp for more riveting conversation. Once again, we apologize for the fire conversation that you all missed before we had technical difficulties, but it is what it is. And so for KJ, for Terrell, for AJ, for Siobhan, and also hold on one second. Next week's what's next week's topic? I'll let y'all.
We're talking about vices next week.
Yeah, talking about our our vices and how we were able to beat them, the ones that we beat. the ones that we beat. But
Progress.
But yeah, until it's for everybody, AJ. Till next time we see y'all. Allow Jesus to be the lotion that lathers your ashy soul.
Yeah.
You're like, and it sucks because all the comments disappear right after we.
Oh, Tasha said if you record the streams,
You should do outro music too, brother.
she said if you record the streams that you get to keep your comments.
Wait, if you record a stream, what?
It'll keep the comments, like because the stream will be recorded. So
and shout out to y'all that listen. Thank y'all.
Appreciate y'all, all the listeners.
Thank y'all so much.
Tell a friend. See y'all next week.
Tell a friend, and just like at church, like you tell them, like just bring somebody else.
right.
Look over to your neighbor and tell them subscribe.
Click the bell.